From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
Kent's Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Happy holidays from Weather NorCal and our sponsors. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Well, North State Giving Tuesday, powered by the Community Foundation of the North State, happens tomorrow, December 2nd. You just go to northstategives.org to find out more details. If you have any particular nonprofit organizations you'd like to give to, you can find it right there on northstategives.org. And if you can't do it tomorrow, you can always donate today, whenever you want. They are always happy to take your money and get those donations out to the proper organizations. Once again, northstategives.org. Well, what do you say we take a look at our forecast and our headlines here? And you can see here we've got that patchy morning fog once again tonight and tomorrow. Now, really, the fog that we saw last week and this past weekend, that's pretty much over with, but there still is that potential for some patchy fog, especially to the south into Glenn and Butte counties here tonight and tomorrow. Still cold, areas of frost, even for parts of the valley, but in particular the higher elevations. Now, we're also expecting the winds to pick up over the next few days. This is going to be a contributing factor to less fog that we're already beginning to see. That's kind of been the case here the last 24 hours or so. Now, there is a slight chance for some coastal and northern mountain showers this weekend, but now the latest forecast models are really backing off on that potential, which we'll get into a little bit later in the deeper dive. But first, here's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast for your Monday, December 1st. Now, starting off with tonight, yeah, it's cooling off, and I do expect colder temperatures to the north, where we most likely won't see any fog, but where we could see some of that patchy fog in, say, southern Tehama, Glenn, and Butte counties, you're looking at temperatures more like the low 40s. Otherwise, teens and 20s for the higher elevations, and for the coast, you're looking at temperatures tonight into the low 40s. All right, so out the door tomorrow morning, as I mentioned, maybe some patchy fog to the south, but the north end of the valley, clear skies. Otherwise, we're looking at clear and cool conditions here for the rest of Northern California, although probably even some patchy fog for many of the mountain valleys as well, especially off to the west. Now, you can see the storm system's riding to our north, but high pressure is that dominant feature, and that's what's going to keep us dry. Now, I just want to show you that forecast visibility, and you can see the potential for fog tomorrow morning, pretty minimal. But there you can see around Butte County, and maybe even parts of Glenn County could see some patchy fog, but I don't expect it to be all that dense. And then, of course, before even noon, any fog that should develop is pretty much going to be out of here, and I do expect mainly sunny skies by tomorrow afternoon for everyone. There it is. Temperatures upper 50s to low 60s for the valley, 50s for the higher elevations, although the inland areas low 60s, upper 50s for those daytime highs along the coast. Looking at your 7-day outlook for the valley, temperatures upper 50s, low 60s. No rain in the forecast. It warms back up again as we go into early next week. For the coast, I'm keeping the chance for showers for Saturday, Sunday. For the coast, inland, Trinity County, the Siskiyou County and Modoc County, but the eastern mountains probably not. With that all being said, don't cancel any outdoor plans just yet, because I tell you what, forecast models are beginning to back off more and more on that potential for rain over the weekend. Certainly something we'll be watching very closely. But in the meantime, what do you say we take a look at our deep dive forecast? But before we get to that, let's take a look at a word from our sponsor, which is Shasta Hearing Aids.
I'm Gabe Kossel with Shasta Hearing Aids. Let's talk about something I see all the time, what I call the crazy cycle. People want to hear better, but the right technology feels too expensive, so they settle for something cheaper that doesn't match their lifestyle. Our Here For You program breaks that cycle. You get the best technology at an affordable price, plus a lifetime service plan that keeps everything clean, up to date, and working exactly as it should. Our goal is to make sure no hearing aids end up in the drawer. We break the cycle and deliver what quality care really sounds like.
All right, so there you can see the satellite image here. This storm system moving to our north, all we're getting out of it are a few high clouds. In the meantime, there's another storm system developing off to our west. This one also is pretty much going to stay to our north, as high pressure will be the dominant feature. But another thing I've got my eyes on, there's a bit of a spin of low pressure. This is going to be diving down to the south and east over the next 24 to 48 hours, and as a result, our winds are going to start to pick up. Now let's show you that here, looking at Futurecast. Of course, this evening, the winds aren't all that bad. Fairly calm winds here down to the south, but you see a little bit of a breeze, 10 miles per hour out towards Red Bluff. If those winds materialize tomorrow morning, you're not going to see any fog. You've got to have fairly calm winds in order for that fog to really sustain itself. So even down towards Willows and Chico, it's having a hard time. Then we go into your Tuesday afternoon, still fairly calm winds, generally 5 to 10 miles per hour, nothing all that major, a little breezy for some of those mountain ridge tops. But then, yes, Wednesday morning, look at that. We've got some breezy north winds here for the valley. So all bets are off for any fog here for Wednesday morning, at least for the Sacramento Valley. Still the potential for some fog for some of those mountain valleys. Then by midday, still a little breezy, over 20-mile-an-hour gusts are a possibility. Not a major wind event, but the winds are picking up. And then that north wind continues for Wednesday evening, although it's beginning to subside. Now, one of the things that this north wind is going to do is dry things out a little bit here. So even though the winds are calming down for Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon, we're going to have a hard time really seeing any fog developing because it may just be too dry for that. All right, so let's take a look at humidity. There you can see tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., the little tongue of moisture right there, that could indicate the potential for maybe some patchy fog for Butte and maybe Glenn County, maybe even southern portions of Tehama County as well. Then we go into Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, a little sliver of moisture right here, but keep in mind the winds are blowing a little bit here and that may keep that fog from developing. By Wednesday, we got fairly dry conditions, only 20 to 25% relative humidity. And you can see here by the time we do get into Thursday morning, that sliver of moisture is down to our south. So there's not going to be enough moisture really for much in the way of fog to develop Thursday morning, even though the winds will calm down. A little bit more moisture developing by Thursday afternoon for some of the higher elevations, but once again, fairly dry in the valley. So really the main story with that is the fact that the fog we saw last week and the fog we saw this past weekend, we're pretty much done with that for now. There may be some patchy fog here and there over the next 24 hours or so, but nothing to be concerned about. So as I was mentioning, we've got this area of low pressure right here diving down to the south. This is what's known as an inside slider. These inside sliders are known to pick up those winds from the north, as you can see right here. That again is a contributing factor to the fact that we won't see that fog out there. Then we go into Thursday, Friday, high pressure is a dominant feature. However, remember earlier today, this morning and midday, the forecast model, this one in particular, was showing rain on Saturday for Northern California, especially towards Siskiyou, Modoc County, the North Coast, and even Trinity County. Look at that, nothing, right? Let's take you into Sunday. Nothing. It all stays to the north. Now remember what I was talking about this morning and even midday. The European forecast model has been dry in the long range going to this upcoming weekend for about a week now. And it hasn't really been showing any rain at all for Northern California. However, this model that we're looking at here, all last week it was off and on with the chances for rain. At some points showing some pretty impressive rain and snow for that matter in the higher elevations. But it's beginning to back off more and more and align a little bit more with that of the European forecast model. And if that's the case, and that would mean dry conditions as we go through this weekend, and then high pressure builds back in for Monday, still dry going into early next week as well. That all being said, I'm going to keep a slight chance for showers in there for the North Coast, Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and even Trinity County, but keep in mind, there's a very good chance that even by tomorrow morning, I may be taking that out. We'll see what the models pick up here for tomorrow morning. But there you can see the 10-day trend temperature-wise. Temperatures generally in the low 60s for those daytime highs, right around normal. It gets a little bit warmer by early next week, in the mid-60s by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We also have a beach hazard statement here through tomorrow morning. Those sneaker waves are going to be the biggest concern here as we go into the overnight and early morning hours. Wave heights, as you can see, fairly high as we go into tomorrow afternoon. They should drop a little bit, though, by the time we get into your Wednesday. Here is your neighborhood forecast, sponsored in part by Dignity Health. Starting off with Trinity County, not much change here. Temperatures upper 50s to even the low 60s. A little bit cooler on Wednesday, and there it is. I've included the chance, just a chance, a slight chance for showers over the weekend for Trinity County and for the North Coast. Temperatures along the coast will be somewhere in the upper 50s for your daytime highs on Tuesday, 62 for Gas Key, and Orleans about 60. Still, also that chance for a stray shower as we go into Saturday and Sunday. As I mentioned, don't cancel those outdoor plans this weekend because there's a very good chance I may be taking that chance for rain out by the time we get closer to the weekend. Modoc County, same story over the weekend. Otherwise, temperatures on your Tuesday will be in the low 50s for the most part. Eastern Mountains, I don't have any showers for you at all for Saturday, Sunday, because I think if we see anything, it'll be to the north of the Eastern Mountains, and it'll be to the north of the valley as well. That's why it's dry for the weekend there as well. But temperatures generally around 60 degrees, give or take, in the valley. And we'll keep it that way through the week, this weekend, and even into early next week. No big changes with those temperatures. We take you up to the north, 62 degrees for Redding, as well as Anderson, Lakehead, 63 for Bella Vista, and Red Bluff, a high of about 61 degrees. There's a look at your 7-day forecast for Redding. Temperatures upper 50s to low 60s for those daytime highs, and it looks like generally staying in the upper 50s here over the weekend with dry conditions. All right, that's your evening update. I'll be back again tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock and live on Coffee with Krueger at 6:30. Have a great night.